Okay, so this is the story of Buena Vista Optometry, client that I've had for over a year. I think I got them in October 2017. So yeah, it's been a long ride to get here. So this is their last report, January 2019. Yes, you can see PPC has been on for November, December, and January, and that's basically what gave us the last push to go from B to A. But you can also see that starting kind of in August, we already got a lot of traction. So I'm going to talk about more of that stuff and focus less on the PPC right now, even though obviously PPC has a big part in this. So Buena Vista is a client that's come up again and again. We use this, Bernard and I used this client as an example when we did our boot camp presentation, the 6-pack, like a year ago. And then again, we did like a follow-up thing on it. So back then, we were focusing on the keyword Eye Exam Ventura and Eye Exam Ventura, California. And basically, they were bouncing between the bottom of page 1 and the top of page 2. So today, their rankings have not improved. They've actually gotten worse. This is for eye exam from GetStat, basically from a view from July 2018 through February 6th. And you can see that they just kind of keep going back and forth between position 10 and, you know, somewhere between 10 and 15. So we haven't gotten on page 1 yet. So the question is, if the rankings basically have not improved, how have we gotten better appointment results?
PPC.
Besides PPC. This was another slide from our presentation back in 2018 where we were looking at keywords and what they matched up to, which pages, connecting them to content and stuff. So you could see here that on this one, the eye exam filtered queries got like 1 click and 500 impressions. So they were not getting good results. And then today, I mean, you have to kind of compare to the new interface. But over the last 6 months, I did a filter for eye exam keywords. And if you look like around December, January, you can see they've like basically dropped out of the rankings totally on some days. And then they keep coming back and kind of back and forth. So bottom line, the rankings are not there. So, again, if it wasn't the rankings, then what was it? So the number one thing is citations, because we're talking about local search results. So even though this client is on Moz, and he also got Bright Local, about 15 citations from Bright Local, I've been doing additional citation work every single month. Here's like a screenshot of some of the assignments. You can see September, October, November, December, January, every month has something to do with citations. So what citations am I doing if this guy's already on Moz and Bright Local? So the first thing I'm using is the Bright Local list by state. So he's located in California. So I went to this URL, found what Bright Local recommends for California. This is part of the list. You can see it gives you the domain authority, it gives you the link to the site where you can build the citation, and tells you if it's free. So I took this list and translated it into an assignment for Upwork. So gave them like the real address, the email to use, all that stuff, had them go through and check. And you can see in the first yellow column that the client didn't exist on any of these sites. They did not find them anywhere. And these are all California local sites, so he definitely should be there. Now, they had a limited success in adding the client, but still, they were able to add him to a few different sites, and some of them, you know, were waiting for approval, and we don't have live URLs, but there was work done here. After that, I did a citation cleanup. It turns out there's a doctor who left the practice, this guy Richard Hatcher, who is still showing up for their address. He's still using their phone number, and he's like all across the web. So we did a lot of work with that. Again, I created an assignment for Upwork. Basically, I did the scanning of finding which links needed to be updated. I gave them the citation name, like the website that it's on, and I gave them the live URL. And then I told them, go in and see if you can find some way to fix it. So again, they had limited results, but we did get some of them, updated. The ones in green are the ones that were basically, we were successful with Upwork. And then after that, I always go back the next month to the Upwork assignment and try to do it myself. So that goes for the Bright Local assignment, like the list of California citations. So I went back the next month and tried to do more of them because we can always do more than what Upwork does. And then on this one, so I went back myself. You could see like the purple ones on the bottom. So I was able to email, haven't followed up yet if they've gone live yet, but I was able to email most of these sites, like a bunch of them on the bottom, and report that, please remove this and try to update it. So that was like a couple of months' work already, just on citations. Then, of course, we did other work at the same time. So they've been getting GMB posts, YouTube optimization, working a lot with their redirects with Yoshi's tool, as well as like older stuff that I had. They get Debbie content fairly often. We did some metadata updating. I did some page optimization and redesign stuff. And one of the things I found, just this is a side note, like when you're checking your pages, so a lot of the page optimizations, like when I would run them through the metadata analyzer tool, so it would come out with like 40 H2s on every page. So I saw that by updating the old testimonials to the stats reviews, I got rid of like a ton of H2s, and that was obviously a simple thing to do. Then we also had a site redesign. So after the July 4th, 2018 boot camp, I know it was a while ago, but when Barry Buckman spoke to us about home pages and like what type of thing we want to present, so Evan and I Evan did a lot of this, but we did a redesign. So the previous homepage was a child holding a camera. That was the main image here. And that was the only thing above the fold, like below the navigation bar. So there was this big picture of a kid holding a camera. So we totally changed that. And this homepage went live, I believe, at the end of July, beginning of August, which also corresponds to some of our increase in appointments. And we put here exactly what Barry said, the doctor, a picture showing who he is, some of the key points, this is what we do, some selling points, that he's the only board certified optometrist in Ventura, plus that little emblem on the bottom, that he got the quality optometry in California for 2018. So this was really updated. And just recently, we finally got pictures of the practice. Like literally after 2 years of asking, we finally got some pictures. And the reason that happened is because they noticed that on Google My Business, when you type in something similar to their practice name, like Buena Vista Optometry, so a different practice is coming up in GMB. So they were like, what? How could that be? So I said, well, one of the things is you have 0 pictures that are personalized on your GMB. So finally that kind of pushed them to send us some stuff, and we used it right on the homepage there and spread them throughout the site. So the homepage redesign definitely played a big part in this, I would say. Okay, the other thing that we did for them that I did with Upwork was an infographic. So in August 2018, we had an infographic go live for this client. Together with that, a blog post was created, which was written by Debbie. The infographic was posted as a Google post 6 September, October, November, we did link building for the infographic using Upwork. And in October, a press release went live with the infographic.
How did you use Upwork to do infographic link building?
I'm going to show you in a minute some of the stuff we did. So basically, the infographic went live in August, and the biggest boost of appointments that we ever had was September, like hugely improportionate to anything we've ever had with them. So that apparently had something to do with it. I don't know. So this is the infographic. Basically, this is a screenshot of the page on Buena Vista's website where I put the infographic. So this infographic, I sent Gurpreet, actually, from Upwork. She told me she has experience doing infographics. I sent her the concept that he became specialty, so we wanted to do something with myopia treatment. So I sent her the concept that I want an infographic called Which Myopia Treatment is Right for My Child. I gave her the links to our myopia pages that have information on it. I told her I want something that's like, you know, about kids, that's going to target parents, something that's like a little cartoony and friendly but has information. And she came back to me with this infographic. I mean, it went through a bunch of edits and changes that back and forth with her, but this is basically what they came up with. We put links on the bottom also, and it's actually on their website. Then once I put it on the website, so Steve actually helped with like putting the share buttons on the bottom, and I found online like a way you could do the share image on your site, this code, and just copied it. And then on the way bottom, we put text, which Debbie wrote. So this was like a huge joint effort, and it took a couple of months. Like, it wasn't fast. I think we started in May, and it only went live in August. But in the end, we had this. And then for the next month or two, I had Gurpreet and her team build links to our website. So these are a bunch of links that we got that pointed to that infographic page on our website.
How did they build the links?
I gave her criteria. Basically, I told her I want them to build links to anywhere they can. That's like that she'll be able to contact and get the URL live. Plus, I wanted her to focus on like mom blogs and, you know, stuff that's interesting for parents because it's something myopia. So these are like, this is basically 2 pages of the links that she got us that are live, and there's more.
Are they do follow?
They're all different types. A lot of them are not anything, you know, great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's MySpace on here. There's, you know, there's stuff that's not so quality. But at the end of the day, like, it gave us what we wanted. So,
and you're linking to the client's website also?
To the web page that houses the infographic.
Okay.
Mostly. And some of them had like a mix of thrown into the homepage, but it was mostly to the infographic was the requirement. So that was our infographic. So basically, I think the bottom line is that rankings are not everything, which we know, but a lot of clients don't know, and other people who may work with us don't know so much. So this client definitely reinforced that for me, that like rankings are just one aspect of what we do. The second thing is that citations need to be done even if we're moving over to Moz and Yext, because we're focusing on local and we still need to do the local stuff. Like, just because a client's on Yext doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're going to start ranking. We need to use like the Bright local stuff and look at local citations and see what we can do there. Another thing I found with this client especially is that on-site has to be gone over every month. There were so many just like little things, you know, pages that were redesigned or optimized that, not optimized, I mean just like redesigned, that constantly needed to be fixed. And, you know, I had to change metadata, I had to change the H tags and make sure that we were getting the keywords in that we need, even if they're not ranking for it, but to just make sure that the top pages, and especially this client became specialty. So there was a lot of work just kind of on, he's ranking actually very well for specialty, but just to make sure that the pages that we rely on actually are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Another takeaway from this is that time allowing, we should maybe be looking at more options like infographics and stuff that is not just cookie cutter, so that we can, the redesign was done at the end of July.
Your experience with, I think you said Gurpreet in the infographic, right?
Yeah.
You said it took you several months, correct?
Correct.
So I'm curious if we can streamline that and or use the same infographic for several clients. Do you think that there's a way to...
So the problem is, if you start using something that's like unique as a cookie cutter thing, I'm not sure, like say the links she built, if she goes back with another client but a very similar infographic, it's not sure that someone's actually going to post that link, because they'll be like, oh, we already have, content like that.
So then we just might, when we use this strategy, as we develop an infographic strategy, then we might just have to realize that it's going to take 2 months, 3 months from beginning to end. Like it's a 3-month strategy, including writing, developing, editing, and having Gurpreet build those links.
Correct. I mean, the time, it took even longer. The whole development behind the scenes of like getting the infographic live and the content and whatever took about 3 months, and then the time that it took from when it went live till everything was finished with link building and getting everything live on the page how we wanted also took a couple of months. So you're looking at like a 6-month project per client.
So the other question, though, is...
I mean, it's probably shorter the second time around, but still.
Yeah, I'm assuming that we're going to learn from our lessons, but it still doesn't sound like it's going to be a very short process from beginning to end.
Right.
However, it doesn't have to be infographics, correct?
Correct.
Isn't that something that's...
Anything that is, could even be just link building to a blog post.
A blog post. We have the issue of not using iCarePro's cookie cutter blog posts.
Right, but a unique one.
But this is gonna. But we might want to consider Devora's strategy of infographics and maybe using it with YouTube videos. We know that the marketing managers are doing a lot. We're going to be pushing a lot of videos. Sarah's going to be coming up with is going to be presenting YouTube SEO strategies. This really dovetails with both of those, and it doesn't have to be brand new videos either. We have some clients who have been giving us videos, for 2-3 years. So we have some clients who have 3-4 videos on their YouTube channel.
Yep.
Okay.
You could build links to any of that stuff.
Yeah, can you share the assignment that you detailed to Gurpreet about building the links? I think that's one that we can really add to our repertoire and give over to the Upworkers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically it. I mean, obviously, PPC I didn't talk about very much here, but it obviously gave us a boost as well. And you can see here, like, how the minute you start PPC, so regular appointments also go up, which is a big thing. And they actually, I believe, shut off
Don't
PPC
give me credit.
now.
Don't do it.
Well, they actually shut off PPC now, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, no, that's great. I mean, it's bad, but it'll help.
But we'll see
show
what
us
happens.
how much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like a 3-month trial, so.
So I'm just really curious about this. Follow up at the end of February and again at the end of March. I'd like to see how PPC and your work affects their core. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
That's it, basically. Just, a lot of work, a lot of citation stuff. Let me see. Talked about citations a lot. How did you see it improve results? Just by looking at, appointments. Like, the appointments are up. So it's a combination of all the work we do. No, their rankings didn't go up, but for those specific keywords. Again, I was only looking at 2 keywords. So if you want to look at, every single keyword, you might get different results. But because we're kind of limited, I wasn't going to go over every single keyword. So I just stuck with those 2.
Are you seeing the main thing, Devorah, are you seeing the main thing that improved for them is CRO?
Yeah, I would say.
Well, did their traffic go up?
So, one second. I can send also their reports around, like the link to it. But
please.
Their traffic has gone up. Their visitors have gone up.
And it's come from organic, certainly.
And organic has gone up. They're 72% in January for organic traffic. So that's a lot. PPC is 6%, whatever. Went down from last month, but fine. So yeah, there are definitely other factors, but when you kind of look at like we're trying just to look at strategy and stuff, that's kind of what I was working on a lot. So I kind of focused on that, as well as the optimization stuff of like pages and YouTube and stuff like that. I think like in general, it's kind of hard for us to know exactly what it is that causes something to happen, which is why SEO is not just like an exact science. You have to kind of feel out where you need to put your time and like kind of like Elon always says, it's like an art also. So it's not so clear, and I think that's a theme that's probably going to repeat itself. Yeah, this is their appointment request form. That's probably, we're going to see again and again when we go through clients that move from C to A. So how do you exactly know what it is that caused it? You don't really. If I look at their keywords, like the pediatric eye exam keywords are all in the top 5. So that got a lot of movement, and that could be connected to the myopia infographic and the content we've been doing on myopia, because that's a big focus of pediatric eye care. Another thing was we kind of shifted our focus to pediatric eye exam a little bit more because we saw that the other stuff wasn't working. He's not really moving for eye exam. So instead of beating a dead horse, like, let's look for other opportunities. So we did a lot of myopia stuff. We did a lot of pediatric stuff. Content that I got from Debbie also went along those lines. So there's a huge range. So it could be that citations helped for rankings for local pediatric eye exam, as well as content and page optimization and, all the other stuff together. So it's hard to know, basically. But yeah, and I think the homepage redesign also was a big help, and that was definitely what we have now, even though it's not perfect, is better and shows a focus much more than having a picture of a kid with a camera. So that was awesome.
When did the client get myopia content? Do you remember?
No, but I can look under specialties. It looks like in August. The end of August, they went to specialties, so they probably got it in September. No, it must have been a little before, though, because we did the November infographic.
And you did your work and the redesign and all that happened starting in November?
No, the redesign was right after the boot camp, so the end of July, basically. And it was like a homepage redesign, just.
It was just a homepage redesign.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
site had already been redesigned many, many times. It looks like they had myopia content since 2017, but we updated the URL with the specialty stuff, so I don't know exactly when the new page went live for myopia. Here's an infographic. So, yeah, that's basically Buena Vista. Any other questions that I didn't answer?
Great job. They were really a sticky client.
No, there certainly is big differences. Or I should say it this way. There were certainly a lot of big things that were done to improve the website. Your SEO was really, really hyper local focused, right?
Yeah.
In addition, we also had a lot of content added to the website, which you said happened at around July, so that really wouldn't have made the biggest difference. The client.
The Debbie content is kind of added all along. Like, it's not just July. Like, every, month or two I was doing.
This is BuenaVistaOptical.com? Yeah.
No, BuenaVistaOptometry.com.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the wrong client. I'm just looking in, what's it called? Buena Optometry. Just in analytics to see, did we get more local, hyper-local traffic, right? Which would be a correlating factor to your local SEO, right? We did see an improvement in organic traffic, and as much as design had an impact on that, as much as design had an impact on conversion rates, it's also the improvement of the traffic that I love. You're right. Appointments are the number one. Everything else really makes little difference. But since we see an improvement in traffic, that's one of the biggest ways that we as account managers can increase conversions. Get more traffic, because more traffic means more opportunities for people to convert.
Right.
Right? And in general, there has been more, looking at this, there has been more local-based traffic from, Los Angeles, Ventura, all these cities in and around Buena Vista. I mean, you have some stuff from Santa Barbara. I see San Francisco here, which is kind of far from Buena Vista, San Jose as well. But we definitely see more traffic coming in from the more local, closer places. Can you go to the view and see how many of them came from a form as opposed to a call, the previous tab on the report?
Appointments.
So let's see.
So 9, basically, versus 10. But
so we had 9 appointments via the form last month. Okay.
From the calls, you could see there's like a lot of Ventura now.
Yeah.
With the call times that are pretty decent, most of them. I mean. And then these are other. This one also, Oxnard, we targeted with some content. We put up a page for that. That's the AdWords stuff. Yeah, so the phone calls are pretty focused, like location-wise.
You can click that little show on the top over there, that drop down, and you
Yeah.
can show like 100.
Yes.
Wow. Hmm. No, it's all a mix. Okay. What call is this? Improvement. Ventura went up.